People get divorced and people remarry. Quite a lot of the time, this involves children having to get used to a new family dynamic which will never be the same again. Usually it's for the worse, and there are ructions between the new siblings. Not here though. Onee-chan ga Kita deals with the opposite, in a very unusual and somewhat disturbing way. Yes, that image depicts a shrine to Ichika's new little brother, Tomoya. Their parents recently married and the two children are now half-siblings. Ichika is thrilled and enamored with her new little brother. Tomoya is quite the opposite. He has every right to be so, as his big sister's behavior and conduct around him borders on, hell is, stalker-esque. Look at the image above and it's perfectly clear. I've seen incest anime in the past, and this has to be the most blatant, over-the-top representation of a character's love for their brother/sister than I have ever seen. She's done tons of research before the pair moved in with one another, and that is creepy. I understand that she's happy to have a whole family again, but this is kind of taking several steps too far from what is socially acceptable. Naturally, Tomoya is freaked and goes to great lengths to keep Ichika away from him, but his resolve over the series is diminished and Ichika wins over quite often. I get that it's supposed to be a comedy, but quite a lot of the time it strays over the border between comedy and creepiness. Ichika, for example, trespasses onto her brother's school just to give him his lunch, clambering in through the window, which leaves the viewer unsettled and dumbfounded, meaning that the laughs are quickly extinguished. You have to look at this from Tomoya's perspective. How would you feel if your new sister completely wants you? How would you feel if she's interested in what type of underwear you have? You're 13 years old and just going into puberty, where things are overwhelmingly confusing when it comes to that kind of stuff. And here comes a whirlwind of incestual lust to decimate what you once thought. You would understandably be scared, or at least feel majorly awkward. Onee-chan ga Kita began as a 4-panel manga series in 2011 by the artist Riko Anzai, and published in the magazine Manga Life, a tour de force when it comes to bringing 4-panel manga to the masses, where it had once been dismissed as only fit for a quick laugh or newspaper. As of now, there are 2 volumes published as full volumes, and is currently still being circulated in the Manga Life magazine. It has a proven track record and had enough of a following to make it to an anime. Makes you wonder about the health of the Japanese market if shows like these get televised. I will give the show credit for not actually doing anything sexual or raunchy other than for gags, and nothing involving Tomoya. It's kept simple and emotional rather than doing anything physical. The furthest it goes is hugs, which is not so bad. If it had gone further, then it would be tantamount to public indecency. The show's art style and look is a little inconsistent. The colour palette looks a little hazy, and the amount of filters used is distracting, and makes the line art and shading look odd. The animation too is a little messy, and some of the characters look unusually disproportionate. In the first image above, Ichika's leg looks a little too small for her body. The line art feels a little rushed too, like not much thought was put into it. The episodes are short, and therefore the attention to detail for the animation was also short. Not cool. Then there's Ichika. Her mouth is a perpetual triangle, which is good for eating Toblerones or triangular sandwiches, but not much for when it comes to realism. Her manner is also unrealistic. I get she's protective of her new little brother, but there's a difference between being close and being close. Onee-chan ga Kita's 3-minute formula for each episode means you can breeze through the episodes with not much thought and time wasted, but it's not worth it. Most viewers would be freaked out after episode 1, and those left will still be reeling from her behaviour. There are some interesting subplots such as Tomoya's crush and her character development over time. That would be a better subject to broach than the main feature. If you don't mind stalker or cringe comedy, you might get a chuckle or two from this. But for the majority, it's a definite pass. And believe me, it's worth passing. Onee-chan ga Kita is available to stream on Crunchyroll, if you're not put off already. My rating? Cancel. Not for me or most people.